The cause of the fire is still undetermined at this time. We are not sure of what exactly ignited it. We do have the area of origin being in a grassy wildland type area immediately adjacent to the railroad right-of-way in an area that's primarily all brush.
Okay. Can you confirm whether there are any injuries or fatalities as a result of the fire, and have all individuals been accounted for?
So just before I came to this interview, we have been working hard on trying to locate 4 individuals overnight that were not accounted for. I just spoke with the last person who had accountability. We have accounted for every occupant, and they are all alive and well. So I'm comfortable to say we have no fatalities. There was 1 minor injury to a firefighter who was evaluated, released, and came back to the fire scene last night, and some minor smoke inhalation of some of the folks yesterday, but no hospitalizations.
Great. Okay. Have investigators identified any potential sources of ignition, and are there indications that the fire may have been intentionally set?
We have no ability to determine that at this point. We've again located the area of origin, but we are not able to identify a source as of yet. The fire marshal's office is still on scene investigating.
Okay, thank you. What steps are being taken to ensure hot spots are fully extinguished and prevent flare-ups in the affected area?
So we have continually worked this area throughout the night and into today. We are maintaining 2 fire engines, 2 aerial trucks, a rescue company, and we added 2 brush trucks with wildland firefighters specifically trained to keep an eye out for those hot spots. We're going to have some high hazard winds tomorrow, so we're worried about that as well. We want to make sure that we are doing everything we can and doing our best to keep from any type of issues flaring back up.
Okay. How long do you anticipate fire personnel will remain on site, and when will the scene be officially cleared?
So with the collapse of the roof on the large warehouse storage building, we aren't able to get into areas underneath that roof. It's not safe to put our firefighters in there, so we're attacking it from the outside as best we can, and that, in my estimation, is going to be at least another 24 hours.
Okay. What are the challenges firefighters face in containing this blaze, especially given the strong winds at the time and also now?
At the time the fire occurred, the sustained winds were between 20 and 25 miles an hour with gusts upward of 35 to 40 miles an hour. If you take a look at that, typically fire embers rise and then they dissipate into the air and cool off. Because of the wind, the embers didn't have a chance to cool off. They were only 10 to 15 feet, maybe 20 feet above the ground, and then they were hitting other structures, and that's what we were faced with. If I would have had all 6 of our brush trucks and all of our fire engines sitting right here in this spot at the time the fire came in, we still would have been faced with odds that were not able to be defeated.
I noticed even some of the hose strings were having a hard time, putting out without being broken up by the wind.
Exactly. That made it a little bit more difficult. We were able to contain the fire. I'm extremely proud of B Shift and the battalion chiefs and all the firefighters. They took their tactics, put them into play, and we accomplished our goals, which is rescue and confine that fire.
Good. For the 30 displaced residents in Liberty Apartments, what resources or assistance are available to them now, and what is their next step for recovery?
So we are working with the American Red Cross. They have those who don't have a secondary place to stay are currently in the shelter over at Destiny Church, who's been a great partner of the community since the onset of this incident. They are now working through the claims process. The Red Cross is out here doing a disaster assessment of the area, and we are also working with other entities that will try to secure any donations in a safe and secure manner that can be given directly to these victims as well.
Okay. What lessons, if any, can be learned from this fire in terms of prevention or emergency response in future incidents of this scale?
We typically say keep your land clear of heavy brush, at least 20 to 30 feet away from any structure. In this case, the winds were against us, and sometimes we just can't beat Mother Nature, and we have to admit that and accept it. We did everything we could, and the lines that were established by the battalion commanders, they were able to hold those lines. So for the residents, keeping your areas clear of brush and being very cognizant of wind, because that wind can make a fire much worse in a very short time.
Okay, skipped over a couple here. Were any other businesses or residential areas at risk during the fire, and what efforts were made to protect those surrounding structures?
Yeah, we have 17 businesses that Forestry Service came out and determined were under threat directly from this fire that were saved by the fire crews that were on the scene. And that is a feat in and of itself. One of those being WCID treatment plant, which is 7 commercial structures, was immediately threatened. And we made sure that we protected that as well, because we want to make sure we sustain those very major resources.
And how is the fire department working with other agencies such as law enforcement, emergency management, Forest Service in the aftermath of this fire?
Forest Service is keeping us apprised of weather conditions so that we have the most up-to-date weather conditions to understand what we're going to be faced with over the next 36 hours. Even one small ember from this fire can be kicked up from the wind, travel a block, and catch something on fire. So we need everyone to be vigilant of that. If you see smoke, just call 911. Even if you don't think it's a big deal, we'll get out there. It's better to call us and not need us than to not call us and have it be too late.
Good answer, thank you. Just a couple of follow-up questions here. You may have already asked some of these, but what specific factors are investigators looking for to determine the cause?
So they're going to look at the area of origin using everything they're taught in investigation school, and we know that the biggest factor for this spread was the wind. Had we have not had the wind, it would not have been as bad as it is here today.
Right. Have any witnesses come forward?
We have had no witness come forward with any information other than KISD providing us some video of when the fire started, but no witnesses of any other issues.
Okay. I believe you answered this, but let's just ask again clarification on when search teams have completed their work at this site.
So the search and rescue effort was concluded just about 10 minutes before I came to meet with you, and we were able to declare that the search is complete and all potential victims were accounted for.
All right. I'm not going to ask this next question about hospitals because obviously we've got that taken care of. Are there any signs of accelerants or suspicious materials at the scene?
There were no indications in the area of origin of any accelerants. It looked to be all natural materials from what the investigators could tell as best as they can. The accelerants that were within those storage containers is what really exacerbated the fire. Those are all people's personal belongings, so there can be small propane tanks, just simple hydrocarbons, anything with plastics, they burn hotter and faster. So that's what really exacerbated this fire, the sheer amount and a concentrated area.
Is there any video surveillances or eyewitnesses that could help investigators?
Just videos being provided by KASD to the investigators, and because it's under investigation, those videos won't be released. We had some great help from some citizens who were able to give us drone footage as the incident was going on, which really showed us the sheer size of this. It was 16 acres in total.
Okay. Was there, the school is right around the corner, was there any evacuations during this fire for the school?
No, the Killeen High School was not under threat.
Yeah.
The fire was actually moving the opposite direction. Next buildings that were under threat were more towards Rancier Road. And again, we were able to stop all of those in the lines that were established immediately upon arrival.
Okay. And I lost my list of questions here. Hang on. Let's see. Any follow-up challenges?
Right now, the wind with the smoldering ash is our biggest challenge, but we're addressing those. We'll keep crews out here as long as we need to until we are very confident that there's no smoldering embers. It could be a couple of days that you still might see a unit out here just on fire watch.
Any structural problems that they got to pay attention to right now?
The structures that were involved and total loss, they've now caved in. So there is some collapse threat, and they're paying attention to that as well, staying clear of the collapse zone to make sure that they can operate safely.
Okay. And what about displaced residents? Is there temporary housing or anything like that being set up that you know of?
American Red Cross is working on that with them, and they have all those resources available to them, much more than we would as a city.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, how was the coordination between all the people that were out here? Communication, that sort of thing. How did that go?
In my opinion, and it might be a little bit of tunnel vision, I think it went very well. We had all the resources we needed. All the agencies were standing in the unified command post. We had great communications, and that's what allowed us to execute the plan effectively.
Right. Okay. Will there be any follow-up lessons on this as far as safety or public awareness that you can think of?
Just awareness of when you have high winds in dry conditions like we've had, because there's been no rain and it's just coming out of the winter time, have to be really aware. And something as simple as a chain sparking on the asphalt can cause a spark that catches things on fire, much less a cigarette butt that's discarded improperly. So vigilance and awareness by everybody, and if you see something, call immediately.
That's perfect. Chief, that's
Awesome.
it.
Thank you.